Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Just Fixing Garage. As you can see behind me, I have another Trailblazer. This one is a 2004, and we're going to be doing a spark plug change as well as new coils on it. I have a couple other things I'll do on it as well, but that'll be a separate video. So if you have a higher mileage 4.2 Trailblazer and you're trying to give it a little tune-up, this is definitely a job you can do yourself. There's not a lot you have to take off to get to these, and there's only 6 plugs. So if you want to follow along, let's get started. Alright guys, so step one of doing all this, you're going to need to take off the air intake part so we can expose all of our spark plugs. So I'm going to go through and start taking that off. It looks like it's 10 millimeter all the way around. Alright, take this off. Get a quick look in here. Alright guys, so two 10 millimeter bolts. Take it out from here, and then one in the back here, and then the clamp for both the sides of the intake. Now the only thing I'm stuck on is this, which you should realistically be able to pop it open if you get a flathead in there. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll be able to see our plugs and get in here. Okay, the intake off, we can see all of our coils. Looks like, as I mentioned, some of them were changed before, but not with OEM ones, so they've already got some aftermarket ones in here. We're changing the coils out while we do the plugs. But to start off with, let's just unplug all of these. They're in sequence, and you really can't mess it up too bad. The toughest one's going to be this one way back. Alright, so all the plugs are off. Plugs off the coil. I'm going to go through and break all of these loose. 10 millimeter again. Not even tight. A little concerning. Back when you can still get out okay. Nothing on here looks terrible. We're going to save the old ones just in case, but I'm going to go through and pull all of them out now. Giving them a little bit of an inspection while I'm doing it to see if there's any bad boots on them or something. So far all the ones I pulled out are OEM, but there's an aftermarket one here. He did mention some were changed before, but aftermarket can vary. We'll save them. Let's see any dielectric grease in there. I'll make sure I put some in there. Alright, this one's got a little bit of oil on it. Okay, So, next part, getting these spark plugs out. Looks like it's going to be a 5/8. Get these out. Get really tight. Someone went a little too insane with them. Let's see what happens. Get a longer extension. They look pretty bad. A lot of fuel on them too. Alright, I pulled the first plug out. They had the AC Delco 41103 in there. You're going to get that out with a 5/8. It had a lot of fuel on it, among other things. It doesn't look terrible, but there's some rust on the porcelain on it. So, grabbing my new plugs. I went with AC Delco again because that is factory. Now these are the 41103. It's the same ones that came out, so they should hold up pretty good. I'm going to put Anti-Sieze on it and kind of work my way through. I did skip the closest cylinder, but I'm going to go back and do that one now after I do this. So, move you over a bit. These came with protection on them. Got this Anti-Sieze. I'm just going to put a little bit on there just so these don't ever get stuck on anybody. This stuff sucks because it's going to be all over me by the time I'm done. But don't just drop the spark plug in there. You're going to end up bending it. So get it good in your socket, feed it down, and then thread it in by hand. I thread it in by hand all the way to the bottom, and then I'll do like a quarter turn. You don't want to over tighten these, because with these heads you can end up stripping it or causing it to blow out later. A little snug for me, so get it bottomed out. That's bottomed out. I'm just going to do maybe an 1/8 of a turn. That's good. Again, you don't have to go super strong on these. You'll end up breaking something. I'll go through and do the same thing for the other 5 plugs. Just work my way through one by one. This spark plug was very loose. I didn't loosen it. That is also concerning. Alright guys, quick recap. Got all 6 spark plugs changed out. I have new coils that I'm getting ready to put in. I did find that there was oil in the cylinder in there, which means it's probably going to need a valve cover gasket. And I'm going to check and see if just tightening this a bit will help, but it does seem like it's just going to need a valve cover gasket, and that is not impossible to do on this, but I have to remove this part to get the valve cover off. Otherwise, it should be an easy job. But I don't know how difficult it is to remove this, which looks like it's going, it's your, I guess your intake plenum in this point, which probably has its own gasket. It's going to be a pain. The computer's got to come off, but I'll look into that. But now I'm going to put my new coils on. Let's see. snap. How nice. Alright, so I'm going to go through each one, put a new coil in there. I buy dielectric grease in a big tube so I can squirt some in there, give it a good contact. Sometimes they're pre-done, but when you're buying cheap ones, they're usually not. So add some of that on here. I'm just going to get them all started, then I'll go back and tighten them all in at one time so I don't have to stop what I'm doing. Again, dielectric grease right in there. Okay, all of them are in. I'm gonna go through and tighten them all down. You gotta be careful when you tighten these down, because if you tighten them too much, you will snap them. They just need to be firm. They weren't that tight to begin with, so. Okay, they're all tight now. Go through and hook all my wires back up. Make sure they all click. A little more snug on this one. Maybe it's on. Some of them aren't exactly clicking, but they're definitely not coming off. So older plugs maybe don't have the bounce back they did when they were new. There we go. That will look good. None of them want to come off. Okay, so do a quick wrap up. Alright, so that completes pretty much everything that you have to do. Got the new plugs in, new coils in, everything's plugged back in. We've got all this tightened up. We put the intake piece back on and put the 2 bolts in, put the clamps on, and this will be done. I have to do some other work on this, like oil change, check for an evap leak and things like that. However, if you're trying to do your spark plug change on this, I think I've been at it for like 20-25 minutes. And that's with me setting up camera, doing all that stuff. So this is a pretty easy job. You only need a 10mm, an 8mm, maybe a flathead screwdriver, and then the spark plug socket, which in our case is a 5/8. So pretty easy. You know, make sure you have dielectric grease, anti-sieze. If you're doing new coils, have the coils ready. But all in all, good. So I'm gonna wrap this up and we'll end it. So if I do end up doing the valve cover, I'll probably film that and let you guys know. But have to see what they want, because it, you know, I didn't quote that out. So thanks, guys.